Alright, morning folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another awesome stream. Today we're going to be playing with 4-color loam. This is a different 4-color loam than you might be used to seeing. This one is blue-based 4-color loam with 4 copies of Oko and Drown in the Loch as a 2 of and Uro as a 1 of. So this features the same overall plan as traditional 4-color loam does, in that you are a land-based utility deck that also has Planeswalker control elements, but the Planeswalker control elements are now Oko because, like, holy crap, that card is really good. Dr. Bill, thank you very much for your support once again. We're nearly up to 2 years now, which is absolutely crazy. Saturday 1. And my new emote should be live. Why isn't that live? Did it have to get approved? Hold up. Okay. So there is an emote that I have uploaded that is pending. So my LPL emote is live on the channel as soon as the approval process goes through. So that'll be live soon, TM. I don't remember how long it takes. I think it took a week or so last time around. So hopefully by the tail end of this week or beginning of next week, that'll be live. Okay, anyway. So you get a flexible counterspell / removal spell in the main deck. You get Okos to do Oko things. And the sideboard's kind of traditional. Most of the stuff is what you're used to seeing. Lavinia is new as a hate card for Breach. Kuneros as well is a hate card for Breach, as well as other assorted graveyard decks. And Golgari Charm is something that floats in and out of the sideboard. Since I've played Loam a fair amount on this channel, I'm just going to go ahead and jump directly into matches after saying that, though. Not Legacy Challenge, Legacy League, 4-color Loam. Let's go. Again, thank you to Loamer Boy, Connor Fulse, for donating for this deck list. So I did something with the queue. I had Loam already as a stream goal, but since Connor donated to see a specific Loam list, I just decided to play Connor's Loam list first, and then we'll play a generic Loam list at some point later. I kind of put the other Loam donation, the Loam stream goal, in the slot that would have been Connor's donation. Turn 1, Bob, let's go. Easy. Force Pitch Pestermite. Ladies and gentlemen, we are playing against Splinter Twin. What do I want to play into Swords to Plowshares? My opponent forced this, so they probably don't actually have Swords to Plowshares. I can play a Bob around a Daze, which I don't actually hate. The other consideration is to just jam Knight into Daze. Holy crap. Force Pitch Jace. Okay, what am I green sunning for this game? Probably just another Knight, maybe Uro. Nice. I was teaching when signups went live. I thought to myself, it'll be fine to just go and sign up at the end of the block. Narrator's voice. It was not fun. This is good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get Underground Sea here because I can already cast the Knights off of the mana that I have. No, that was a mistake. I should have gotten something that the Knight could fetch away. I was just thinking about the Drown in the Loch that was in my hand and the importance of potentially countering something that could target the Knight. So now I've priced myself into getting the Forest away. I guess getting the Forest away is fine, though. Maybe it wasn't a mistake, because then I can fetch away Forest, get a Wasteland, one of my opponent's lands, while also holding up Drown in the Loch. Yeah, maybe I've talked myself into my line being okay. Okay. Oh my god. Goodbye, blue source. Float green. Activate. Sacrifice this. Get another wasteland. Goodbye, blue source. And we're done here. So what do I want in Splinter Twin? Let's check the text of this one more time, shall we? So Plague Engineer on Pestermite's creature type is probably good. Swords to Plowshares to interrupt the combo is probably good. This also destroys an enchantment, right? Okay, so this is going to be good. And Thalia, I guess, is worth consideration. So the awkward thing here is that these... Well, no, actually, I guess Plague Engineer can be set to either one because they can make infinite blockers, but if I set it on whatever type Deceiver Exarch is, it actually stops it from killing me. They can just make infinite creatures. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be fine. The Chalices are sort of interesting in this matchup because they're going to stop my opponent's filtering cards, but they'll also stop my Source of Plowshares. I'm going to lean towards the Thalia as being bad in this matchup because I'm going to have like Abrupt Decay and Source of Plowshares that I might be wanting to hold up. I probably don't need the Scavenging Ooze. I have no bullet I really want to get, so the Green Sun's probably fine. Tapping out for Uro is probably a little questionable. Are there any lands that I can cut? Cabal Pit can kill a Pestermite. These are fine. Maze of Ith is probably not ideal in this matchup. It's just untapping my Knights, which is still fine. But maybe not what I need. And then I'm just at 61. My opponent showed me a lot of non-basics game one. I don't know to what extent Life from the Loam is going to be good if they know to play around it from the beginning of the game. Maybe it's a cycling land. Go down to playing 25 land instead. This one doesn't really count as cutting a mana source. We're close with this one, but I don't think I want to risk it. Especially if my opponent mulligans. Ha 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 ha. Well. So you remember when I was talking about Wasteland? Oh, Neon City PD, thank you very much for raiding. I appreciate the support, friend. For everyone just joining in, we are playing 4-color Loam against Splinter Twin, and I'm Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU. So, I'm going to go ahead and keep this one. I know this keep is questionable. You don't have to tell me that. But if Wasteland ends up being good against this hand, or I end up spiking a decent card, this hand is actually fine. Morning. Alright, so I think I'm going to play Knight and a Wasteland this turn. And then a Bob next turn, with Wastelanding or double Wastelanding my opponent. So this needs to fetch a green or white source. I think I'm going to get a Trop. I am not used to the mana constraints of this specific build yet, so I'm not 100% sure what all I need to be playing around. Ooh, okay. I have a Golgari Charm and Plague Engineers to answer that. Holy Wasteland Batman. Okay. So I guess due to weird days situations, I should play that out first. Oh no, I put the Blast Zone back in the deck, so I can theoretically use Blast Zone to get rid of True Name. The Tabernacle is in the sideboard. And my Maze of Ith is also in the sideboard, right? Yes, my Maze of Ith is in the sideboard. Okay, I think I'm just going to play Verdant Catacombs, play Bob, and pass. Wow, my opponent has just conceded the game at that position. That seems like an early concession to me. So, for anyone who tuned in from the raid or while I was playing game 1 there, we are playing Blue Loam featuring a whopping 4 copies of Oko. We have defeated Splinter Twin pretty handily in round 1, although I do think my opponent's concession there was definitely early. I was going to bury them in cards. The concession may have been because they don't actually have more non-basic lands to fetch, so they couldn't ever actually get to a real win condition. That would not surprise me. Or they could have just been valuing their time and figured, I'm so far down here that I'm probably not coming back. Hashtag ban Oko. Cards, great. But that's old news at this point. Alright. Going into round 2. Trying to go through my matches somewhat quickly today. This is absolutely a keep. Trying to go through my matches somewhat quickly today. Supposed to be having lunch with the girlfriend around noon. She has been craving cheeseburgers. And I denied cheeseburgers last night because I wanted to take a nap. So, gotta make up for that today. So my opponent started to tap mana, and then didn't tap mana. So I don't know that I want to play a fetch land. I think I just want to play Bayou Pass. Verdant plays around a Wasteland for my opponent better. But I'm just keeping Stifle in mind here. I have plenty of lands. Oh! Uh-oh, hot dog! Okay. Outs. What are outs? Outs are opponent puts in a creature, and I get Caracas or Oko to deal with it. So putting in a land allows me to play Knight or Oko this turn. Knight can potentially get Caracas to bounce a Grizzlebrand. Oko can potentially elk either creature. Putting in a Bob gives me one more draw towards Caracas. So I think it's correct to just put in a land. Well, GG. Well played. So, if you're not familiar with this matchup, I believe Connor calls this one Sneak and Blow. It's very bad. It's very, very, very bad. All right, Lavinia technically does things. Golgari Charm technically does things. Yep. Hey, I hope your trip was great. I always love when I get the chance to travel outside of the country. Thalia also technically does things. Excuse me. Thank you very much for your support. Our fill emote is in the process of being approved, so you should have access to that soon. TM. Alright, so Ooze not going to be great here. Cabal Pit, not going to be great here. Tabernacle's in the sideboard, so I don't need to take that out. Blast Zone, not really great here. Like, technically, we could try to remove a creature or a sneak attack with it, but that's, like, so beyond ambitious. I might end up trimming that. That's 2 mana-producing lands that I'm trimming. A Loam... Oh, no, God, these Abrupt Decays suck, too. Crap. I have so many bad cards here. Alright. So, like, the Decays are bad, the Uros are kind of bad, too. Notice that even, like, the sideboarding kind of sucks for this matchup. So it may be that I'm just, like, leaving these in the deck as mana producers. So, like, normally I don't have a lot of things for this matchup, but this is definitely worse than normal since we're playing the 4 Decays in the main deck. I think it's between Hound and Ooze. Hound just because it's a slightly bigger threat and has some lifelink, so it can theoretically buy me an extra turn versus a Grizzlebrand or attack through a Grizzlebrand. But Ooze technically can do things against some fringe cards that could be played. And is just a green sun target for X equals 2, whereas otherwise I wouldn't have that. Yuck. The Hound is an okay magic card if you have mana acceleration. So what's better than this? I don't have that much disruption. I have, like, Chalice, Thalia, Oko. I can just turn 1 Loam for value, turn 2 Knight, and start trying to wasteland them or get utility lands like Caracas. This isn't fantastic, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to get a lot of redraws off this Barrenmoor. So I think it's actually fine. Like, between Barrenmoor and Waterlogged Grove, I'm going to have a lot of velocity when it comes to churning through my deck. So even though this hand kind of does nothing right now, I think it's okay. We can probably make a pretty big night quickly. If I'm willing to redredge the loam. I guess technically we have Drown in the Lock as another piece of interaction. I'm not going to dredge the loam the first turn just to grow Knight out of like a Pyroclasm range. If they have that, I'll take that trade. But I think it's more important to take draws off the top of my deck and see what happens here. So that's a non-basic, so playing Knight here is probably correct. All right. Let's see if we're dead. My next turn is currently Oko, Cycle, Baron, Moor, Wasteland, that Volcanic Island. Probably not dead. Very likely not dead now. I don't know the contents of my opponent's hand, but it's very possible that playing that Delta out prior to the Brainstorm was actually a mistake, because you lose the opportunity to go Soul Land Petal, Show and Tell, and win from there. Just throwing it out there. We're not going to dredge the loam here again. I'm probably dredging it next turn, though. Okay. So we can go Mox Diamond, Pitch, Waterlog, Grove, Grow Knight, Cycle, Baron, Moor, play Oko. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's go blue. Oh, wait. Nope. Do it the other way. So blue, green, black, Oko. Okay. Force is a slight nuisance there, but it's okay. So let's cycle the Baron more. I'll take a natural draw here. I do really like that. Both of those are black. I have very stable mana here, so it doesn't matter too much which one of these I'm going to get rid of. I don't have too many white cards to draw towards, so I'm going to go ahead and get this. And I'm also probably at some point going to be getting white off a Caracas. We have a fast clock now. We have a 3-turn clock in Knight, assuming that my opponent chooses to fetch basics from here on out to play around my Knight. But I'm probably going to need to hold up Drown in the Lock for the rest of the game, which could just be over right now. All right. That does not beat what's on board. Knight of the Reliquary is on board. I get Caracas. I don't understand. So I can dredge loam here to hold up drown in the lock and also cast loam, so that's probably fine. So I can drown in the lock. I'll need to return a colored land, so I can like drown in the lock, return, say like scrubland, wasteland, not take barren moor there. Oh geez, yeah, that exact scenario would have been a disaster. It was correct to not dredge or to at least activate night in my upkeep. So let's take scrubland and wasteland here. Actually, no, not scrubland. Let's take waterlogged grove because I can still cast drown in the lock, and then leave the others in the graveyard. Actually, maybe I should take the scrubland too because it's another thing to tutor for night. Yeah, so I'll play the scrubland here. That still leaves me with black-blue. Yeah, but quite unlikely still happens, right? It's not impossible. And if both of those things lined up, I would have been dead. Yeah, so if they hard cast a sneak attack here, I just counter that. What? The good old self-wasteland play. No dredge there because hitting a Thalia or something like that is just so good. So I can hold up blue, black, have counterspell available while also playing Sylvan Library. Causes me to tap my Caracas, but I don't think that should be an issue with my opponent at 3 cards and only having 1 mana in play. So we stole a game there, which is great. But again, we're calling the matchup Sneak and Blow for a reason. I wonder how familiar my opponent is with the matchup, because they played that show and tell into my active night. So, like, I really don't know if they knew that I had Caracas, or if that was their Hail Mary play because it was their only chance to win. It's really hard to tell these things on Magic Online where you don't get to, banter with your opponent afterwards. Well, this hand's bad. It doesn't cast this Thalia on 2. It doesn't cast this Green Sun on 1. Womp womp. Theoretically, even if it could cast a Green Sun on 1, I'm still missing, both white and blue. So I think I'd be pitching this one anyway. Okay. I am not happy about this hand. What are you doing? I'm the Wasteland deck! Friend! I'm the Wasteland deck! So I'm hoping they don't have yet another soul land, so I can have this Drown in the Loch active. But I need my opponent to put more cards into their graveyard. So I'd like them to like cantrip once and fetch, so that this can actually be on to beat a show and tell. I don't have any other double colored things that I need to be playing, so I just want to play towards Drown in the Loch next turn, and either Uro or Knight the following turn. Probably play towards Uro, and basically all of my mana is going to allow me to do that. So I'm going to play out the blue one first. I do kind of feel like my opponent has it. Yep. All right. So we're not fast enough here to do this. We could potentially just elk it if my opponent just puts a creature into play. I'm going to put in one of my cycle lands for sure. Oh, you're so getting elked. You're so getting elked. All right. Green, blue, one other color. Here we go. Here we go. Don't force me. Blue, green, some other color. Come on. Come on. Come on. Mother. No. I guess technically I could have taken 15 and my top card could have been Caracas. Nope. All right. Next match. Yep. Sure didn't force me. That is accurate. Man, we were so close to getting that one. So close. For the D&T players out there, that one is really like the elves matchup, where like you definitely did not have a chance at winning. Well, I think I have to wasteland that soul land 100% of the time, right? Because if I don't, I just am under the threat of death. So my opponent is very, very, very likely playing lands. I am going to keep my hand since I have Life from Loam. Really, it is that bad. I have so little that actually interacts with their deck. And you usually don't get to wasteland that deck as much as I did in that match. So with this hand, I'm going to go Wasteland Go. Probably go Wasteland Chalice on turn 2 to stop like Reclaimers, crop rotations as the game goes long. But if I draw another colored land, I may end up going Peatland Wasteland on 2. I don't have the mana to cast Oko currently. So that's something that I'm going to have to keep in mind. A little groggy this morning, I'm not going to lie to you, chat. So at maybe about 6:50 a.m., an Amber Alert went out. So if you're not familiar with those, an Amber Alert is something that goes out when a kid is in danger, for kidnapping and things of that nature. And it sends out this really high-pitched, like, the same sort of noise you hear when there's, like, a tornado warning, where it's like, oh man, there's danger. Hey, pay attention to this. So at 6:50 this morning, The Amber Alert went up, and I was just like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? I'm not complaining about said thing, because I think that's a wonderful piece of technology. And, like, I'm glad that that thing exists, and it saves lives. But I'm just stating that that REM sleep cycle that I was in was very, very immediately and quickly disrupted this morning, and I haven't quite recovered from it yet. Opponent has a real tough mulligan over there. Yeah, I mean it's weird how just waking up in the wrong part of your sleep cycle can throw you off for a couple hours. I've also been taking NyQuil the last couple of days to try and get a little bit more sleep because I'm, you know, still somehow sick. You have kids. Of course you are already awake. You have given up restful nights of sleeps. That's part of the trade-off. Less free time, less free will, less sleep, but more satisfaction and more love. I know what side of the equation you're on there, Dr. Bill. Your kids are great. A little mischievous at times, but still great. Oh, so cool guy. I am almost 100% legacy content. Every once in a great while, I'll stream a draft, I'll stream modern, or I'll stream a non-magic game. But it's like 98 of every 100 streams are legacy. So let's see. What have my last few trophies been with? So my last few trophies have been with Breach with Honorog, Mono Black Control, Destiny Spinner Enchantress, Red Prison, and Green 12 Post. I think those have been my last couple of matches. Or sorry, my last couple of 5-0s, not my last couple of matches. So I originally started out as a D&T streamer, and now I've turned into more of a variety streamer. I do D&T content on YouTube every week, so like I'm 100% playing D&T every week. But now it's a little bit of everything. Oh, hey, I found the opponent. The opponent had 39 seconds before they were going to time out. I wonder if they're double queuing or something. No, Spider Stompy is in the queue. If you remind me in between matches, I'll throw the queue up there. So this right here smells like crop rotation. I'm not wastelanding into that. So now the question becomes, do I play this green land here and expose it to an opposing wasteland in order to play towards Oko next turn? Or do I just play out the wasteland and not have access to Oko next turn, but have access to Life from the Loam? I think having access to Life from the Loam 100% is more important than being able to potentially Oko next turn. Because this game's going to go long. Sniffed it out, chat. Sniffed it out. Don't thespian stage. Hey, you remember that part where I said we didn't necessarily need to play towards Oko? That was a lie. So if I played Nurturing Peatland last turn, I could have cycled Baron more and drawn into Caracas. Now I don't have the mana to Oko this, unfortunately. Was my next card Caracas? No. Alright, that was a little bit rough. Okay, quick audio check volume. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that was brutal. Okay, so what do we have for lands? Golgari Charm can blow up an exploration. I kind of like that. That doesn't do what I want. This stopping Moxen is interesting. I'm going to consider that. Ley lines are great. Swords of Plowshares is good. Dingaling. The idea was to play towards Oko by the top card of my library being a blue land. Yes, I know that I did not have access to blue in that list as it stood. Alright, so Cabal Pit is usually not going to kill Elvish Reclaimer. We can probably board that out. Actually, I may not end up boarding in Golgari Charm since I have so many Abrupt Decays in the main deck. I need to make a decision about what to do with these chalices. So my opponent is going to have 2 Reclaimers, 4 crop rotations, 4 explorations. So they're going to have, relatively speaking, a small number of cards that actually care about the chalice. But shutting off the crop rotations is pretty huge. My opponent will potentially have Force of Vigors for Chalice if I decide to keep them in. I don't know that I like the Chalices on the draw. Yes, absolutely. I could be convinced. So maybe I'm being too ambitious with the oof. And then I'm at 61. I could trim a Drown in the lock. I mean, generally speaking, I really like Loam against Delver. You have a good point, lol, bro. You have a good point. I am indeed on the play. Well, you trade Punishing Fire for Abrupt Decays. So, like, you still have plenty of removal. It's not, like, infinite removal. But you also have, like, 4 Okos. And Oko is a beating versus Delver. I feel like it is more important for me to put this Bob into play and get more lands than it is for me to, like, wasteland my opponent and hope I spike another land. So I'm going to give my opponent the opportunity to play a good 2-drop, like a Life from the Loam here. Alright, Leyline. I wanted you in my opening hand, really. I see. That's where we're at, huh? I mean, if you think about the cards in your deck that are good against Delver, it's all the cards that you're basically playing because you're playing this build other than the Punishing Fire build, right? Like, Uro is great versus Delver. Oko, Decay are great versus Delver. So, like, you're definitely in an okay position. All right, another Pain Land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm already having to discard. I'm going to attack with Bob while I think about what I'm going to do here. Casting Loam to just make sure I hit land drops is probably fine. Alright, so check this out. We're going to get a cool Loam here. This is thinking with portals, friends. So we go and return our land. We try to play a land in... Oh, snap, we can't play a land. So what are we going to do? We're going to discard this Uro, and we're going to discard this Life from the Loam. And hey, would you look at that? We got value out of having to discard. Notably, we are missing white mana currently, so I can't answer a Merit Lodge with this Swords to Plowshares. Alright, so I need white mana ASAP. Oh man, do they have... Oh no, they have crop rotation for Ancient Tomb. You monster! You monster! So note that my opponent really has to use this timing here, because otherwise my Wasteland that's on board beats him. Okay, there's a Misty, so I can Swords to Plowshares it now. So no Dredge. Is my Scrubland already gone? Oh no, I've Misty. So I guess we're getting Savannah. Unfortunately, we can't also Abrupt Decay this Exploration here. There are worlds where I'm supposed to just Wasteland this Ancient Tomb here. But I still kind of think that I need to keep making my land drops. Like, I have so many things in hand that I'm playing towards that I don't know that I can actually afford to go negative on mana here. This decision's really hard. Because it's not like playing the Ooze is amazing or anything. But it represents the ability to eat some of these cards in Graveyard that I care about. I would not blame anyone for wastelanding that turn, but I think with the ability to, like, eat cards that are currently in Graveyard, the ability to, like, Swords to Plowshares, a Tireless Tracker that comes down, the ability to Knight, I think I have so many things in Graveyard that, sorry, so many things in hand that just give me value for extra mana. Well, everything's terrifying now. My opponent has so many cards on deck. TLB28, thank you very much for following. Not loaming. Okay. So. Yeah, definitely a little scared of my own Bob, that's for sure. I need to answer Tireless Tracker, or it goes out of control. Answering Sylvan Library becomes slightly less good, because my opponent has these 3 clues queued up. And my Wasteland similarly becomes worse. So what can I do if I decay? And double Painland here, also a touch rough. I can decay Tracker. Eat it, swing in for 4, hold up Wasteland. Or I could Swords to Plowshares Tracker and play Oko. Oko gains me life, which makes it so that Bob might not kill me. But then I'm softer to my opponent just generating a Merit Lodge. If I Abrupt Decay, though, I have to use my black, so I can't Bob. Oh, this is bad. I kind of think I need to play the Oko to put pressure on my opponent. But it gives him an opening to Merit Lodge. Oh no, I guess if they Merit Lodge... Yeah, alright. Playing Oko also means that I don't have to play another Pain Land this turn. Yeah, if my opponent makes it on their turn, I can Elk it, and if they don't make it on their turn, I can hold Wasteland up if they don't Wasteland me. So the real question here is, do I just Elk Bob? My life total is not in an okay place because I have these double Pain Lands. So the question is, do I Elk Bob this turn? Or do I just make the food and know that I can have that as a mana sink if I need to? It probably has no actual impact on the clock. I think I'm going to value accidentally, like, bobbing a ley line next turn and putting myself into a terrible position. There's only one creature in the graveyard right now. Does it really look like... Does the Thalia look like Griffith? It does kind of look like Griffith. I see where you're coming from. I watched Berserk when I was in high school. That show was pretty good. I have not watched the I think it's 2 reboot series that they have done with Berserk. That's a mighty fine elk you have there, opponent. It is an elk that can get pretty big, though. May end up decaying that instead of elking it. Am I going to be able to decay and night? Yes. Fuck. This is a rather ingenious trap. If my opponent just has a life from the loam and they can get that back, it's so bad to wasteland it. Are you kidding me? This game is still super interesting. Alright. So I'm going to pay for both off these 2, I believe, and then use Trop and Nurturing Peatland to decay this. no loam. So this thing is super threatening. So for those of you who are suggesting the Wasteland Tabernacle and remove it from the graveyard line, like this is going to generate so many cards that I'm going to get buried. I have to remove that. And I don't want to elk it because then it turns into a 5/5. So I think my line here is destroy that. Make a food. I've already played my land. Attack for 5. And intend on wastelanding the Tabernacle at the end step. It's an awkward play if my opponent has a crop rotation, because I essentially get nothing out of it. That was rough, Felchmaster. So I am representing lethal damage with my next attack, as long as I can grow something with Scavenging Ooze. So Dark Depths, Wasteland, Wasteland. Yep. So now they can Wasteland my Wasteland to more safely make a Merit Lodge. Yeah. So now I'm basically obligated to take out the Tabernacle to free up my mana for my turn. Alright, they have copied it. Did they use their bonus land drops for exploration yet? No, they have not. Okay. I have to keep both of these. And what am I playing towards? Swords to Plowshares as a 1-of is very good. What other outs to this situation do I have? Another Wasteland? I need to get whatever that is. Sorry about that. Okay, so I can pay mana for both of my creatures, dredge life from the loam, Wasteland Dark Depths, force my opponent to make it, and then Oko the Merit Lodge. They have a loam, though. It's not a great long-term plan. I do have a maze. Alright. I think I am saving my creatures. Yes. Yes. Dredge the loam. Alright, get back. Wasteland. And redraws. Alright, so they have made a merit lodge. I get a bunch of lands back. So I elk this. Sort of a shame that I don't have a little bit more to do here. I can take a redraw, losing 1 life. Or I can just play the Nurturing Peatland and attack in. Or I can hold up the Wasteland for the Tabernacle. Surgical's not as good as you think it is versus Breach. That would be my guess. So I have plenty of mana to pay for my creatures next turn, or I can also just create another creature via food. I think I just knock my opponent to 1 here. Alright, so my opponent forces the activation. Alright. So my opponent can't draw more cards with Sylvan Library, but like they have these clues. And those are real good here. They can definitely just recreate a Merit Lodge. No questions there. Kind of feel like I'm on the wrong side of this match right now, but it's real close. Explain yourself. Alright, Loam gets back. Depth Stage Wasteland. Sure. It's going to be interesting to think about what I'm going to get out. Or, sorry, what I'm going to do with my draw step, whether or not I'm dredging or just taking a draw. Yeah, this board is incredibly complicated. Okay. Couldn't pay for this. We need to not dredge. Abrupt Decay is a great draw. All right. So the next question is, do I actually cycle some of this stuff instead? That's not how Oko works. Oko takes it based on power. So, how deep am I going here? Because I can take a redraw for Abrupt Decay or Swords of Plowshares. Well, I guess Abrupt Decay is the one that kills this turn. So I think I can cycle the Thicket and see what I hit. I have plenty of outs. Not dredging. All right. So now I don't have Decay as an out. I can turn Merit Lodge into an Elk. And just, like, cast a very large knight or something. But this whole Merit Lodge problem is something that's recurring every turn right now, and I don't have the time to cast this 4-mana ley line. So at this point, this is something that has to happen. Then I probably need to play a Giant Body. And then the next question is, am I playing Barrenmoor or Wastelanding? Play Bob, swap it for an Elk, hope to die to Bob. That's a cute line. But since we're not immediately dead, I don't like that line. I'll play a Knight and hold up a Wasteland. While I still have a shot of winning this game, I want to be in control of my own destiny. So, like, for example, my opponent's Ancient Tomb is off. They have things to play around. They do need to get another body into play, otherwise Oko Plus and just attack them is also lethal. We have enough things going for us that I don't think we should YOLO this game away. Because if we don't Elk the Merit Lodge, we just absolutely die if our opponent left a land on top with their Sylvan Library. And I don't know the average converted mana cost of cards in their deck, but I imagine it's under 2. I do try to win the matches of Magic that I play. I know I'm frequently playing with meme decks and ridiculous decks, but I'm always going for the W's. Well, almost always. Sometimes I play with my food instead. But if you've been here for a while, you know that. But think of the Twitter clout. Good point. Good point. Real talk, though. If I lose this game... Or, no, if I win this game, we still have to play one more after this, right? The clock's getting a little low. I've tanked on a lot of decisions, and I stopped to get a package. Alright, what terrible, awful thing are you getting here? Is this just getting the Dark Depths, so I should wasteland the stage in response to this? Or is this getting some other utility land? Oh god, Field of the Dead, you're right. And then they're going to copy Field of the Dead. So I might need to wasteland stage in response so they don't copy Field of the Dead. How many lands do they have? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Field will be 7. And then they have exploration land drops left. So I should probably fire this off here. Yeah, I don't care if they copy the forest. The forest has the same name as forest, right? So that actually is very good against Field of the Dead. I wonder if we just got there. Yeah, this game has been utterly amazing. I'm not going to claim that I played perfectly here, because I don't think that I did. And I've had a lot of very, very difficult decisions, as has my opponent. All right, so they get stage, foothills, depths. 2, 4, 6 different land names. So I think they played one land already, so they can get a zombie. Alright. So I'm not loaming. I'm sure of that. There's no tabernacle. Blast zone is interesting. Okay. So I can elk this food, attack. I really need to remove a creature. I've got this if I can remove a creature. So I get some redraws. Let's cycle this Baron more and see where we start with. Wasteland. Okay, so the forest and the taiga have been used. Yeah, if there is another fetchable land, then there's another zombie, and that's a whole nother problem. I can play Wasteland, though, and Waste Field of the Dead in response to a fetch, and my opponent can't copy. No, so I am still drawing live towards a removal spell. I can take one other redraw if I want. I can use Knight to bounce Merit Lodge, but then I don't have lethal attackers still. I haven't forgotten about the Uro, I just don't think I can spend 4 mana on that card. I think I take a redraw off Waterlogged Grove, tapping this. That still leaves up Abrupt Decay mana, but drops Swords mana. Bounce Merit with Knight. Yeah, I do also need to be worried about the backswing. I think I'm going to go for the W given my clock. Eh. Yeah, there is the Bob line. I think I'm going to time out if I don't go for the Bob line. I'll time out in the next game. Alright, I'll do it for the memes. So I'll swap Bob for... I guess it just needs to be something on tap that can block. I guess I'm just going for everything here, so let's not let some utility land muck me up here. I'm essentially saying, like, if you can beat me, like, if this Bob doesn't kill you, I'm conceding, is essentially what I'm saying by taking this line. Alright, there you go. Clip that, post it on Twitter, enjoy it. I'll still probably time out this game, but that was cool. So I kind of just want to play one more body over the Drown in the Loch, just to close the game out a little bit faster. I don't think that in a vacuum that, like, just playing a 3/3 creature is good in this matchup. But I think that's where I'm at this next game here. I'll post that one on Twitter later. Cuneros. I don't hate it in theory. We'll draw land. I have faith. See? Yeah. So whatever I play gets destroyed. So we're doing it this way so we can make our land drop, and then play Bob next turn after this is wastelanded. I don't know. I think we're gonna win this one with plenty of time left on the clock. At least at the rate things are going now. Like, we're either just gonna get, like, Merit Lodge comboed out of this game, or we're gonna win by a landslide. So make a food, replay an Oko, swap. Or no, that's not going to work. Wrong loyalty amount. I didn't think that through enough. That's okay. Attack, attack. Or hold up, waste. Am I willing to just attack with a Bob too? No. I'll do that next turn. Yeah, I know that I'm playing suboptimally due to, like, watching my clock and not thinking about lines. So apologies there. Hey, Mario, welcome. Oh yeah, show that clip to Romario. He'll appreciate that. Opponent says lost both games to force a virtue. GG's, friend. GG's. What a match. That was crazy. Oh, well, welcome. I'm going to take 30 seconds and just kind of reset myself after that match, and then we'll go into round 4 here. So I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. For anyone who has tuned in recently, hi, I'm Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, and today we're playing with 4-color Loam. We are currently 2-1. We've had some crazy grindfest games here. I'm hoping our next one goes quickly. If our next one goes quickly, I can probably play 2 rounds. But if the next one, is another one of those 50-minute battles, I probably have to go after this one. Deck list feels sweet. We definitely have not seen the best of Uro. So I had access to Uro in, what was that, game 2 of our matchup versus lands, and I just did not have time to cast it from the graveyard. But more generally, in matchups where you're both not life from the loaming back and forth and jockeying for position quite like that, I think Uro's really good. I've played a few other deck lists that have had 1 or 2 of Uro in it, and they've felt really good. So this is Loamer Boys. This is Loamer Boys deck list. Folks, what do we think about this hand? So we can play Misty for Forest on 1, cycle Tranquil Thicket, have 2 draws to get a 2-drop or a Moxen to have a good turn 2. But we kind of do nothing in a lot of games. I think this is fine because 2 of these lands are actually pseudo spells. But it's a weird keep. I'm gonna give people a second to chime in and see what they think. Sure, I'll look up opponent on MTG Goldfish. Cows now. Last seen playing Mono Red Prison. Connor says Mull. I'll Mull. But last seen on Mono Red Prison 3 months ago. I'm going to keep this hand. I think I'm going to throw back this Uro here. I'm not going to just assume that my opponent is on Mono Red Prison based on like older results, but I'm definitely playing out this forest first, regardless of the matchup. There's an argument for pitching second Chalice over Uro, but if we end up playing against a fair blue deck, the first one getting countered and the second one resolving is kind of huge. I'm going to go ahead and get my basic forest here, I think. I don't want to get this wasteland. I don't care if this gets wasteland. We're going to try for the first of our chalices. Ooh! That is a boon. Oh, okay, so we're playing against Bug Delver, so this chalice is not as good as it looks. That is exactly what I did not want to see. So my opponent didn't daze last turn. That could mean that they don't care about the chalice or they don't have daze. This ooze is better and better the later it's played out. So I think I'm just going to play Knight this turn. Nice. Oh, please don't just, like, curve out, like, Delver Tarmogoyf into True Name. Alright. So it was part of a plan. It was part of the plan to grow the Tarmogoyf. Okay. This turn's interesting. So I'm going to do this. For sure. And then from here, I have so many different lines that I can take. Like, I can Wasteland my opponent twice. I can get a Maze. I can even just, like, not Wasteland my opponent and just keep it so I can cast my spells more easily through days. So I can't knock them off of a color by Wastelanding them. I think I'm just going to get Maze here by sacrificing my Scrubland. And I think I do want to waste, but it's close. Wasting potentially does keep them off of a True Name, which is something I am legitimately scared of. I don't need to play around Stifle since I have Chalice in play, so let's Wasteland the Trop. Yeah, I know that I can eat with Ooze, but there's no creatures in there currently, so I'll just be shrinking the Tarmogoyf. Okay. Alright, my opponent has conceded there. Great. That does feel slightly like an early concession to me, but it is what it is. Alright. I like Swords to Plowshares. Plague Engineer can trade with a Tarmogoyf, and also name Rogue or Merfolk for True Name Nemesis reasons. Can also kill an Unflipped Delver. Is a Lifelinker good enough? This might be good enough. Tabernacle also might be good enough. So what don't I want? It feels like most of my cards are actually pretty good. We probably junk Bobs and libraries. Connor, does that sound about right? Bobs and libraries. Board these in. I mean, that's kind of my whole brand. Is I try to deep dive and talk through my lines, explain, and be educational. That's, you know, I'm a teacher by profession, so that's the sort of thing that I tend to do. Yeah, this feels pretty good to me. Like, there's other things we can do. Like, we can consider the Thalias, but I think it clunks up my own removal. There's an argument for, like, keeping 1 to 2 Bobs and, like... Yeah. And maybe, like, boarding out the Caracas and one other one of, like, the Green Sun. Yeah, Chalices are also medium, especially when I'm on the draw. It also trips into my Stars to Plowshares that I'm doing. So what would it look like if I don't play Chalices? 4 Bobs is kind of crazy. It would have to be like 2 Thalia, 2 Bob. I have 19 non-creature spells. 4 of those don't really count. You play 4 Bobs, you madman. Alright. Yes. Yes. So we're gonna turn 1 play a Bob around a Wasteland effect. Well, sorry, wait, like while playing around both Wasteland and Daze. I think I'm going to go this and this here. Keep the peat land in case I need a redraw at some point later in the game. This Bob's so good if it lives. Like one untap with it. Sure. I think I'm just going to 100% run back the Bob. My opponent couldn't hard answer it. And remember, your life total is a resource. Thoughtseize. Goodbye, Plague Engineer. Things are a little scary regarding my life total, but we have a decent amount of removal to draw into. Those don't count. I'm going to keep in mind decays. Oops. Okay, green, blue, some other color. Green, blue, some other color. That's a big if, though, right? Like, I'm taking 8 here, potentially, on average, like 2 more from this Bob. But yeah, Uro as a 6/6 lifelinker giant big idiot is definitely something. So 8 puts me to 9. I can still take a chump block with the Bob next turn, so I'm not going to take the chump here. I feel like they were supposed to get by you there. Maze of Ant. Oh my god, yes. So, like, I guess I play that. Hope they don't have days. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You play Knight of the Reliquary and Dave. And Maze. I guess it does play around days. And this... and gives me time to put other things into the graveyard other than lands that I could exile. So are there any other... well, days is fine if I play Knight, but at some point, this is... Alright. Green, green, white. Get in there, Bobo. There's some options to leave back Bob in case my opponent wastelands this maze. So now it's probably life game time. Life game time feels okay. Green, green, blue, blue. So I exile cards. I'll leave lands in there in consideration of Knight of the Reliquary. And exile my creatures first. Nice, and I do get to put a land onto the battlefield. So I can't play another spell. I could cycle Grove. That doesn't really do anything. So I'll just pass the turn. I'm pretty close to stable, but I am not there yet. Life from the Loam and Wasteland. That's interesting. So I could attack with Uro. And use that to put a Wasteland into play, and then play Knight and Kuneros, maybe also Wasteland. Yeah. Oh man, Mats, that's a really good line. Alright, so I have 3, 6, 7, 8 mana available. 3, 6, 7, 8, so I get to do everything here. Or I can Wasteland instead. 3, 6, 7, 8. I don't really need to cast this Life from the Loam this turn. So I kind of like Wastelanding better. Yeah, but if I have a 3/3 Vigilance Lifelinker in play, that's also pretty good. And, like, there's... Like, if my opponent removes Oko and I still have these two, I think I'm still in great shape. Alright. So let's go green. Something. White. Get this. Play a land. I guess I'm taking one no matter what. So there will be black, white, 1. Wasteland one of these suckers. Does that lag mean we've won the match? It does mean we've won the match. Alright. Looks like I have a whole bunch of messages that I need to respond to. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here for today. Let me say a few words about Loam here. I think Blue Loam is very good right now. As we saw, in the fair matchups that go long, Uro gives you the ability to stabilize, the ability to draw cards, and the ability to have a body that is bigger than most other bodies that are on board. So specifically in that matchup there, I don't know if you realize this, but when I cast the Uro by exiling things from my graveyard, I believe that I also shrunk the Tarmogoyfs. So I made the Tarmogoyfs smaller while also creating the biggest body on board, gaining additional mana, drawing cards, gaining life. So Uro was really strong. I think you could make an argument that it's supposed to be a 3-2 split of Oko to Uro instead of 4 Okos, 1 Uros. I'm not sure about that. I don't have the reps in to know for sure. Drown in the Lock is interesting. Very good as the game goes long. It gives you an actual counterspell for matchups like Show and Tell that are really bad. So that's cool. In the past, Loam has played Dovin's Veto as a counterspell in the sideboard that kind of works out in a similar way, but this is just more flexible. So this is probably fine, but as we saw, this doesn't always work. So for example, in the early game versus a deck like D&T, you don't actually get to put... Sorry, you don't get to cast Drown and Lock as an actual counterspell or removal spell because that deck isn't putting cards into the graveyard. Similarly, against Show and Tell, if they just go like land on 1, soul land on 2, cast Show and Tell, this doesn't actually counter anything. So this scales as the game goes long, kind of like the rest of the deck does. So I think it's okay. And this helps to fill the gap that has been made by taking Punishing Fire out of the deck. So again, I think that's probably fine. Sideboard felt pretty good. Didn't feel like I was missing anything like in the various matches that I played. Yeah, third library, second green sun. I don't really know that second green sun is all that great. Like, this isn't a particularly good green sun target due to like how it's worded. So in game 1, you're basically just green sunning for night. Like you have one other bullet, and then you have one bullet in the sideboard. So I don't necessarily think this is great. Yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. If I have some time, I'll try to record this my remaining match off stream, and I'll add that into the backlog to be posted someday where I can't necessarily stream. Thanks to Lumber Boy for the donation, but I have to run off to lunch with the girlfriend, so I gotta go. I'm gonna go ahead and host my friend Cherryman, who could be playing any number of formats. So have a great rest of the day, folks, and if you enjoyed Legacy content, please go ahead and follow me. There's gonna be all sorts of crazy stuff coming up. So my next stream is Monday night, where I will be playing with this black-white Pox deck called Myth Disco Pox. Have a great rest of the weekend, folks, and keep playing Legacy. The format's awesome right now. Yeah, and as always, thank you to Mats. Cheers.